Hi, everyone. Let's Bee Telepathy is here and live coming from all around the world to say hello to you, to connect, and to answer the questions about life, telepathy, and everything in between. We're going to jump right in today and start with our guests, Chrissy and Mason. And Chrissy, go ahead and ask your question. And thank you for being here.
um, about a couple different things, and I think that I sort of somehow came to the conclusion of getting the answers on my own. And that's I kind of wanted to see from your end if I did. I He sort of came to me, and it was I like to call it a journey, that he comes to me either in a dream or like a daydream of sorts, and said that getting his wisdom teeth removed would help him so he can smile and speak better, like get his words out better, because I was having a lot of worries around that. So that was my first question as far as that goes. Was that experience accurate? Was there any further things that I was missing? Um, what does he have to say about all that?
Yeah, so he actually said that you two are intertwining very well. You're starting to feel the pulsation of his body, of his words more frequently than what you had before. I can actually see a little line between the two of you that's really getting a lot stronger. So I'm seeing shared thought processes. Even outside of the dream state, I see that you're getting them now throughout the day and waking stages of your reality right now. So I commend you on that. He said that most definitely you have been hearing him, you have been listening, you've been paying attention, and also doing a very good job in guarding him. So he says that your spirit has awakened in a different way and become a protector spirit without fear, where before maybe you had some fear. And he says that you just knocked it right out of you now and just started going into, I got this, I can control this, and I'm going to.
Mhm.
So he's very excited about that. That is something that he was speaking to you about with his teeth, especially the formation of his tongue. It almost seemed like he couldn't fit his tongue all the way into his mouth. So that was becoming um, that very uncomfortable. And you had heard about that. He also is pointing that you've been feeling the sensations of below the hips, and especially just sharp pains that just kind of come really quick, and that you've been
Mhm.
feeling more of his body. Um, and he says that you've even been tapping into the feelings of the sadness and happiness, and they seem to come really sudden for you, where it's suddenly, oh man, I feel really sad, but it's a sadness for humanity as a whole rather than as yourself. But with that sadness comes this all encompassing empathy of, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were holding so much. I didn't understand that you witnessed so much. And so, with that, there's a pride and happiness that is also coming into you as you're integrating your life, spirituality, and his life and spirituality. And then he's really excited about how in depth you two have been able to become. He said that you're getting to a point of even being able to start to see beyond the veil of us, that the eyes are changing, the lights are starting to change, and so you're seeing things a little bit differently, even vision wise, than what you used to see. And that vision is a lot more of the spirituality versus the humanity.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, so my other question was, I have a friend who, we weren't speaking for 6 months because there was just like some discomfort level going on there, and he's really struggling right now, and believes that I have something within me that he doesn't have and that I can help him, and I'm sort of like lacking the confidence to help him, and I'm just wondering, like, what it is, what can I do to help him, and what is going on that he's not able to help himself.
It's coming down to faith, and it's a faith base. I'm just hearing Mason almost say it's a faith-based program, and that your faith has been able to increase no matter what the situations that you've been through in your life. And so therefore it's almost like faith is a foolproof plan for you. No matter what, you always think, I'm going to get through it, it's going to work. And so that's what he's seeking, is that he doesn't have the motivation to have the faith himself, and that he's needing to learn that faith so that he can even have that confidence in himself to know that he can make good decisions and be able to be somebody who is gifting people in a soulful way some of the skills, and that's something that he's wanting to do. How can I help people? How can I become a better person? But it almost seems like the faith is being lacked there, and so because of that, well, I don't have this connection, so I don't have the soul motivation that you have, and that's really what it comes down to.
Okay, so yeah, like right now he's saying like his third eye is blocked and he is wanting me to sort of like quote unquote see for him. I don't feel like I'm advanced enough to do that. So you're saying that's not something that I should be doing.
Not right now. As things come, you are getting really good at paying attention to those guides. So as the energy comes to you, you'll just have this all knowing about how to do it, but not in the way that he's explaining it. What he's looking for is you to open him up spirituality. But what he's lacking is the faith in creator, God, whatever, the higher up that you have. That's not there. And so that's what that blockage is
Okay.
there's not they just keep saying faith, 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 faith. And
So how does he get that then? How would he get that?
I would simply ask, what do you believe in outside of yourself that is holding you accountable for the things that you are doing in life? Where's your moral compass? I would talk about discernment. That seems to be a really big word that really needs to come to the forefront right now for a lot of different people, is discernment, and knowing what is what is really for the spirit and what is for the soul. And then also finding that thing outside of yourself that can help lift the burdens of your emotions and feelings. So some people, they have, I'm seeing that there's some issue with God there, and that lack of relationship is the thing that's really hurting. And so in saying that, he's kind of looking at a the best way to put it would be empty prayers, saying the prayers, wanting the prayers, it's wanting everything there, but not putting the feeling behind. I'm seeing nature could be a really good place to go. So maybe say tap into nature. What do you feel there? And the softness of the universe. How does the universe feel? What is that energy like? And then tapping into that, and then bringing that, down the road to say, okay, now what is creator to you? But having that relationship with something outside of himself is really what he's looking at, and something that's going to guide him. But not having that belief system within God is what's holding him back. And you can put that into trees, you can put that into the universe, you can put that into love. Just find the thing outside of him that is going to resonate. And I just keep seeing nature all around, that's something that can really be believed in as a higher energy force that can help.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, realistically, there would be no reason for someone to not be able to learn how telepathy at some point. Like, there's nothing that would prevent them, like demonically or anything like that, prevent them from eventually being able to, like, quote unquote, see or telepathically communicate. Correct.
Correct, correct. And that was a question even Stephen has asked me earlier this week is, with telepathy, could there ever be evil? No, there can't. There can never be evil with telepathy. Everything with telepathy, everyone who is on the telepathic channel, the end goal is for harmony, for peace, for love, for truth, and for equity, really above even equality, and stay in seeing that everybody has a different value and they can bring a different value to the table. it's not all equal, but it is all equal as far as energy goes, that everybody has a certain worth that they can bring to that table. But telepathy itself, when you're on that channel, really only strives for love, it strives for divinity. There is nothing that is on the telepathic that would ever harm you or hurt you. Now, people can say telepathically that they are being disturbed, or that maybe there's ghosts or entities or things around them. And that might be a conversation that might be had, but itself, telepathy is very pure. And again, it's not anything that anybody has to learn. It's not a gift that anybody can receive. It is an intuitive language that all of us have built inside of us. So telepathy, realistically, when we get to that point where we're able to teach and allow it to flow, is just a remembrance. It's not anything that needs to be taught. It's not a gift that somebody has. It is an ability and awareness that anybody can bring to the forefront. They just have to trust in the process so that they can bring that forward, and they're not holding on that in the background.
So no one can actually take it from you, whether it's an entity or anything. It's just about remembering how to do it again. So
Exactly.
anyone, regardless, can remember again, even if they felt like it was taken from them.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And it can't be taken from you. It is the first language that we're born with. It is the energy around us. It's the universal torus. It's the everything. And every single person has that ability. What I have found with people who think that they're blocked or think that they are closed off or they can't get there, is really there's something emotional holding them back, or there's a trauma or something holding them back, where they have a fear of stepping fully within themselves.
Okay, so it's a fear thing. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. And then I just wanted to comment on you saying about me seeing more. Last night I actually had like it was almost like an out of body experience. And I was like up, like floating above the earth, and I saw it look almost looked like a kaleidoscope of colors like around the earth. It was just amazing. And so when you said about me seeing more, I was like, yep, that's totally what's happening. So thank you for validating that.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like aurora borealis over the
Yep,
whole,
that's what I
doesn't it?
saw.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. That's what I see coming in too. And the more that you zoom out, the more it's just a big mosh posh of different colors and stuff. So that's pretty cool. You
Mhm.
got to see that.
Mhm.
Congrats, Chrissy.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We will move on to Tara and Mr. Owen.
Hey, hey everybody. Not sure where this is gonna go, but a couple of things on my mind are Owen has really good uh he has good motor control in certain aspects. Like he's very good at like balancing and walking and tracing and like doing there's a lot of like really good skills in there. And I'm I'm trying to understand, when I see him doing certain things and he's not, let's say, like with the verbal, for example, like I'll say something and he'll say something else, like completely unrelated, So this is just one example. Um, I don't want to know why because I kind of understand that, but first of all, I want to know from his point of view, like, I mean, he's prepared for this, right? He seems so calm when he goes through this. I mean, he's just chill, he's happy. That seems fine. I just would love some clues besides the telepathy. I'm working on the telepathy and I'm very visual, so I like when we do the meditations, I see things, not so far the audio part. Maybe smells might be another one of mine, but I'm just trying to get his messages about like important decisions because I feel like he's so tapped into like the like helping me make good decisions and we're a team. So I don't know if there's a clue there to like help. Maybe talking to him, he can help me understand a little bit. How his his ways of being. Besides when he has a complete meltdown, which isn't very often, but when he does, I can tell that something's upsetting him. But just some tips on how to move forward with different decisions. I want him to be happy, and I want to be happy with him. Like he's my everything, you know. So he's my buddy. He's my everything.
Cut my nails. Cut my nails.
He's ready for his nails to be cut. I
He's
love
ready
it.
for his nails to be cut.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Owen said, sometimes with my body, it's hard to understand what it is that I want or don't want. But if you can get attention to my face, you will be able to tell the different aspects of my eyes and where I am within my emotions and where I am within my spiritual place of being. If you're having any questions or concerns about whether or not I'm doing okay, the answer is always yes. I love you. I love you in all different aspects and know that you are already doing great. There have been so many times when you have heard me telepathically, so many times that you have felt me, but the intensity of feeling me almost was too overwhelming for you. It became so emotional. So when you're tapping into me, I would just say that at points when you come in and your emotions are very high, then that is when you are feeling the disconnect and more frustration. And that more frustration is that frustration on your side. It's not frustration on my side. So asking yourself to pull back and letting yourself know that you are doing okay, that you are all right, and saying, we have this, and then redirect yourself to the looks on my face so that I can see you because once you see my eyes, you will know exactly which way that I would want to go. I also, he's showing that within his arms, that his arms will relax if it is, he's showing me kind of a muscle memory, but not muscle memory in the way that we would actually do the muscle testing. He's saying specifically in his arms that when it's a full yes and when his body's in alignment, that his arms specifically can relax and they're not so tight when it is something that his body is resisting, that you'll feel the tightness within that. But otherwise, he said, just come in with him. He's really tapping to you almost under the ribs. So he's actually showing me a very specific place under the ribs and right over the stomach that you can even put your hand over and tap into that. And he said, that's where you'll feel my energy also. So that would be a place that if you're having to ask him questions or you're wanting to reach him energetically but can't telepathically reach out to him, put your hand over that stomach or even see if his arms are relaxed or not, or getting attention to his eyes. And those are some ways that you can start to see physically what he is expressing from the inside out.
Cool. That's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna remember the rib thing. That's very interesting. I think I do notice something like that. That's okay. So can you just say that again, just specifically the rib one, because that one caught my ear.
Yep. So he's saying that his energy is almost in a band right under your ribs. And so that's where you hold his energy. So just tapping into and putting your hands or under that rib section, you will be able to fully come into circular motion. He's just showing the circular motion of your hands. And it's almost like if you put your hands above where the womb, if you're really pregnant, how almost on top of that belly is where you put your hands. And he said that's where you connected a lot with him in that birth space. So you must have rested your hands on the top where a lot of maybe people, put their hands in front of their belly button. He's just showing that he liked your hands there. That's where the warmth gets, that's where the energy gets, and the circulation between you two can go going. He said even if you he said putting your hands there right now, you'll feel an instantaneous warmth of where he is in that spot.
Oh.
He also added, I would really like a lot more adventures. I've been really bored for the last few days, and I want more people to ask me questions. I want to be teaching. I want to be exploring. I want to be with all of my friends, and I haven't been able to do that. And so I have felt like I have been sluggish in all areas because I now realize after being with community for so long how much the community helps regulate me. And so he's
Oh. Well, that's funny because also when we came back, we called his dad and he said, "Oh, uh, how are you today?" And he just said, "Florida."
yeah,
Cut my nails.
Oh my
Cut my nails.
oh my God, so demanding.
right, right. Oh, I love it. I love it. And we will be having in Florida the second week of January. We are going to have a getting together for our Let's Be community. We're coming up with more ideas and places around that, but we will be having that second week of January. So anyone that wants to just go ahead and block it off. We're going to try to keep it as cheaply as we can possible so people can afford it as they can. It's going to be more of just the community coming together and saying hi. Over the last 2 months we've been able to go and visit a lot of different people, and it's been just amazing having the community actually come together and see each other in person. So it's been wonderful and great. All right.
Watch out. Construction on road ahead.
Who was that?
I think it was Scott's GPS.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Scott, where are you at? And now you muted.
Well, he's driving, so he might not
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, he might not be.
Yeah, he left West Virginia and he's on his way back to New York.
He is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, was I unmuted the whole time?
You were unmuted, yeah.
Oh, I can't tell by my screen. I thought I was muted.
No, that's okay.
Sorry about that.
You're okay. How's your travels?
So far so good. Very just flowy. Very flowy. It's above speed limit travel right now. That's good.
All right. Well, safe travels, Scott. Thanks for being here.
I will try and mute. And if I'm not muted, go ahead and mute me.
All right. All right. Jason, what do you have to say? I love that.
That's not Jason. This is
that's
his
not
brother.
Jason.
No, it's his brother Jack.
Okay. Oh, there's his full face.
Yeah,
There we go.
Jason was in here a little bit ago, but no, this is Jackson, his dad.
Oh, I was gonna say, whoa, I haven't seen him come on.
Yeah. No, it's just this is my goofball.
Hi, Jackson. How are you?
Say hi.
Hi.
Lots of people on here to say hi to, huh? Are you having fun?
All right, say it again. Are you having fun?
Yep.
Yep.
Good. Happy to hear it. All right, Adam, moving on to you.
Yay! Well, I'm hoping that there'll be, after the Florida trip, there'll be a Costa Rica trip. Everybody's welcome. I'm waiting for you. And thank you for making this space for us on a Saturday evening, Melissa. You don't realize, this is the highlight of my week now. I just can't wait every time to come along when I can. So if Professor Owen wants questions, I've got one for him. Dreams, right? What on earth are they all about, right? So I don't know if anybody's ever read or listened to the audiobook of the Seth Materials, which is from the 70s. Anyway, they talk about dreams there and how the images and the experiences in them can often be symbols, right? And so I've started noting down. I dream almost every night, have memorable dreams. And I've been jotting them down. I can't see any patterns. I can't see any relevance in anything. Last night, I dreamt that my dog got dog napped, taken away. We went on a walk and somebody stole him. And eventually he came back and his head had been put inside like a toaster, but a toaster for Doritos. and so his head turned into a Dorito. And I'm like, that was so striking and quite emotionally charged for me because I didn't want my dog to have a Dorito head. And it upset me so much that I woke up. And I'm like, if this is all symbols, what on earth am I supposed to be taking from this? So could you or any of our Beyond Verbal friends here or anyone else who's got any insight just kind of take me through what your experience of dreams are, what your perspective is on what they're for, or like what they show us, etc. Just anything around that would be great.
All right. I'm actually going to give this one to Mason. And I'm going to give it to Mason because he's been really hopped up about the dream world. And I believe that it was even him last week.
Wait, can I just say something? Is
Yeah.
this Owen? Can you see this?
Yes,
Look,
I
can you
can
see
see
that?
that. That's
Is that Owen?
it's Elsa. She's been playing a joke on everyone and playing with the dang lights and showing everyone that she has been here. And I have multiple, I don't know. I gotta ask
It's
Owen.
not done
Owen's
that
like,
at
oh,
all.
Owen just said it. He's like, no, I said I was gonna do it too. He learned it from Elsa. Yep, that is actually him. I was thinking Elsa right away because I felt the Elsa energy, and it is both. It is the Elsa energy, but he learned how to adapt to it. So that's hilarious. He said on our trip he was gonna start doing it too because
Ah,
Elsa was doing it everywhere that we were going. She was following us with the dang lights.
it's not done that once before. It's just started right now.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. Yep. That's so funny. I love it. Um, yeah, I was gonna give that one to Mason only because he's been on a dream kick, and I believe that it was him. I There was a few people with Alex Zek last week. It was him that was channeling that, and he had so much to say. So we will actually I'll let Mason channel that one. He says dreams are a part of the external being, part of the spirit and the extra, he says, almost junk files that of things that you weren't utilizing throughout the day. So much information that you had picked up within your mind, within your spirit, within the whole that you hadn't been able to use. Dreams are a lot of different things. Some of them are symbolic about things that you're thinking about, things that keep coming up, and the energies that are reoccurring that you need to work out subconsciously, or that will be coming to you on a conscious level at a different time within the future. And so it can be symbolic of what your life is, but it can also be other things. It can just be two clashed energies, two different thoughts that had come together throughout the day that maybe didn't make sense, but just needed to be sorted through or needed to be seen again, so that you knew that you didn't need that within your system. It also is you going to different planets, different time, different realms. And he says different wrinkles, but he's showing like wrinkles in space or wrinkles in time or the fabric kind of thing. But he says in different wrinkles, it's the place where you can be connected to all of the other living yous that are alive. So all of the different life formations that you have in various forms, you can also skip into them, and you can skip in to the consciousness as a whole also, and skip into other people's thoughts, other people's dreams, other people's realities and their energy if you have the access code to get in, or if you have been given that universal key so that you can open that up. So dreams in itself are so many different things. It's being in another place, consciously aware, but it is also going through all of your consciousness and being able to dump all the things that you don't want, that maybe the other places and other yous in different life formations or different timelines could utilize in a different atmosphere, but not necessarily in this one. It is a way to sort through all of the information of what you don't want or you want. So he's almost showing it's like going through your emails. And sometimes we just have these junk files, these sorry guys. I've been really pushing myself lately, so the body's just getting tired and a little worn down lately. But that's okay. I'm feeling great, and it's just pushing myself. So Sorry, today's one of those days I'm gonna have to drink a little bit more. Um, but he's showing, he says it's just like email files. So sometimes it's not only your thoughts, it's thoughts or energy that people have imprinted onto you that you are also seeing that it was just spam or something that you didn't need. So it's multiple different dimensions, but as a whole, it is conscious awareness of thought patterns that have been brought to you and need to be organized and put into different places so that you can explore and understand and organize your thoughts as well as have access to the things that you have experienced so that you may utilize them as a whole and progress in life with the thoughts that and the energy that you want to be led with.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mason. What a legend. Yeah, that's kind of amazing that it's an accumulation as well of other people's thoughts and consciousness as well. Wow. I'm just trying to take all that in.
Yeah, it just looks like the place where all of the emails came in or all of the information came in, and it's like you're just sorting it out to say this one goes to this zip code, this goes to this zip code. Nope, this one is just junk mail. You can burn that kind of thing, but it's interesting because I'm just seeing him show all the thoughts and how it's sorted out into all of the different universes and timelines and whatnot. So yeah.
I've heard testimony as well of uh, how people who are beyond verbal are able to communicate with their caregiver in dreams as well. I wonder if anybody here has had that experience. But yeah, is that something, Mason, you can speak to?
Well, I think he doesn't even need me in that because him and Chrissy have been having really profound dream moments, and that's where they've really been connecting. So maybe she can just tap into that and explain that on her own perspective. And I don't even need to be a part of that just because they have been growing and she can talk onto that.
Sorry, what was the question again?
So he was stating that sometimes caregivers, family, loved ones can communicate through dreams. And I said that was exactly what was happening with you and Mason. And that's a way that he's really found he can connect to you. Can you talk on that?
Sure. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think my I'm not like coming up with the right words. Um I was actually going to ask you before he asked that question, like, what makes us remember certain dreams versus other dreams, but I guess when it's more meaningful, that's when the message is like really going to come across. Um I actually don't know how to answer that question. So I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm having like almost like a writer's block or, um
Just share
if
the
it
Don't worry.
comes
experience that you've had with Mason in the dreams because and that's all
okay.
I was talking about is that you can talk about that shared experience that you've had. Not
Okay.
necessarily you know how to get there, just it has been something more regular for you. That wasn't a thing before. And now Mason's really been coming through the dreams, and that's how he's been getting in, and now it's seeping into the day in the waking times too. But it has
Yes,
started in the
yes.
dreams.
That's true because it'll be like like you were saying physically, like sometimes I'll have like a pain in my neck and then I'll be like, okay, maybe Mason's having a pain in his neck right now. Um, as far as dreams, I can't think of one specific recently other than the truth one. And as far as that went, it was like almost super weird. It was like I went inside his mouth and I was exploring and like I was a tiny little person inside his mouth and exploring in there. And then he went in there with me and he was like showing me his wisdom teeth because he's supposed to be getting his wisdom teeth out in a couple weeks. And he was like, once I get these out, I'll be able to use my mouth better to form words and to smile better. So it was sort of like he was trying to like actually physically show me inside of there, like what he's experiencing. So that's an example that I can think of offhand that was
Thanks,
recent.
Tracy. Chrissy, can I ask you, like, do you remember the first moment when you realized or wondered whether that actually was real communication in the dream? Do you remember what when that moment was?
I feel like it was back in, it was almost close to a year ago that I started to become a little more aware of it, but it like really heightened back in like February. My friend that I was just talking about, he does Kundalini and he started doing that on me. And it sort of like activated something within me that it really opened up my third eye where I could really start connecting with Mason. I just wasn't believing in myself. So that was where the block was happening. But then once I connected with Melissa, I started to believe in myself a little bit more and really, really believe that it was happening. So it was, probably back in like February. And it was, like I said, the Kundalini sort of activated it and helped me remember.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. And so it's kind of like only the start. Think of all the years to come of all the
Yeah.
things you're going to experience. Wow.
Yeah, it's definitely like intensified a lot as the time has gone over in the last couple months, and it's been amazing.
Wow.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
I know Zan and Steven are two people most definitely that have advanced as far as telepathy goes. So I don't know if they want to talk about that. It's kind of been coming in waves for them and whatnot. And what I really love is that just being in communities like this, just being in Zoom meetings, just showing up for some of the conversations, some of the talks, and stating that I'm going to be here as somebody who can hold safety, can hold empathy. What you're going to start to see is that your body's going to naturally become more and more and more aware of this. And just being in these environments are going to allow for your spirit to settle down enough that you can feel calm enough and then start that awareness. So many people are saying the awakening, but awakening in consciousness is just really becoming aware. And the more hyper aware that you become, the more conscious you become. And the more conscious that you become, the more connected you become. The more connected you become, the more you're in the flow of things. And now all of a sudden things are just rolling. So I'm going to open up the platform for those two to talk because I do know that they're just coming into it, but also really being as I've watched both of them open up. It's almost like they were just pushed into the door. Oh, the door opened up and then they just pushed them and shut the door. And now they're both trying to deal with it and figure it out. So one of you at a time, maybe Zan first, go ahead if you're okay with it and just talk about what has really come into you because sometimes that starting feeling other people can acknowledge that and then they realize, oh, that was through me too.
Yeah, so you guys are just kind of talking about how it oh you guys are just kind of talking about how it happened. Like you guys want to know what those feelings were like when it first started happening to me. So I am also like late diagnosed autistic. And so something that has been helping me is like kind of looking back in my whole life and seeing all the times when I really wanted like very literal explanations of things, and people would just be like, it was like I heard it in my head, and I was like, okay, but I need to know the volume. I need to know if it sounded like the person. I need to know And a lot of times when people said they heard it in their head, I realized later on that that means a lot of different things to people. And so I'm going to be very literal in my like explanation. And like for me, it feels like I had an idea. Like you know how you like you're sitting there and then you're like, oh, but what if I did this and then this and this and this and this happened? First of all, what's cool, and if you talk to any of the non-speakers, that's almost always um like your angel, your spirit team, them dropping these ideas to you. Like I almost feel like I can't take any credit for any ideas ever because like it sounds like all inspiration is like from source, heaven, universe, and which I'm like fine with. I'm like, I'll be a vessel, I'll be a hollow vessel for all the cool ideas. Give them to me. So it feels like an idea. It feels like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I had an idea, but why is it about somebody's grandma telling me, bye, buddy, telling me that they wanted like the heart bread, and then like it'll just kind of feel like a jumble of words. And so like the very first time I ever had a mediumship experience was was for my sister-in-law. And I got these Spanish words. I was doing a little spirit channel session with my sister where we will kind of get physical manifestations from spirit, like my ears will tunnel. And then I kind of talked to her, like, hey, are your ears tunneling? And she's like, yeah. I'll be like, okay, come over to my house. And it was so nice to have like a sister to do this with, because then we could like talk to each other the whole time the experiences were happening. And so we got to like really like lay out vocally all the stuff that was happening. So I'd be like, okay, my ears tunneled when this word happened. And she's like, okay, I was doing this when this happened. Sometimes it does have to do with circumstances that you're in, and sometimes they'll bring to your mind a word. And so it would be different every single time we would get kind of a physical manifestation. One of the ladies I listened to on a podcast, she says that you can kind of ask your spirit team for specific manifest or specific physical manifestations if you really need that. Like my ears would tunnel, or like it feels like a tunnel, like a seashell's over my ear, or like they would ring. And then and so I asked for those, and then those are also my kind of confirmation or like highlighting physical sensations. So my sister would come over and we'd sit and we'd start typing out things. We'd like say a little like prayer or mantra at the beginning, saying like only things of light and love from God, and set a boundary. And that always was super helpful because when we started this at the very beginning, there's always a couple of scary situations. I'm sure all of you guys have a story or two, like when something really dark tried to happen, and then you had to like get that out of there and show it who's boss, and then you could get on with business. So if that ever happens to you, no, you're in control. You tell it, get out of here. They're just little tiny ants compared to the power of good. Um so we would sit down and I channel, and then again it would just be like ideas. I'd be channeling, and when I was channeling, and it's just like writing, like, and then sometimes it's like a list. It's like light bulb, bread, grandpa, and like it would just be nothing. And everyone has different methods. Just like be open to all of it. So this one time I started getting Spanish words, or what looked like Spanish words. I don't speak Spanish at all. And I was like, I need someone who knows Spanish. And so we tried my brother-in-law, and then we tried my brother who's married to the Hispanic woman. And then we're like, why don't we just try, oh, someone's mute popped off. Mine does that all the time. And so we called my sister-in-law, who I'm like, oh, you speak Spanish, you're Hispanic. And we're like, can you help us? We need you. We need your like knowledge. And she's like, yeah, of course. So I started giving her the words, and she's like, I don't know what these words are. And then all of a sudden, I literally felt like an idea. It felt like someone's like, oh, a little boy, a little Hispanic boy, maybe 5 years old. And so I was like, weird. And then I got, but about grandma, like it was like very sparse, very sporadic words. And then I got, and I was like, hey, did you have like a grandma who, or did your mom have a son or have a brother that was Hispanic? Like again, they just would trickle words in just enough for me to say those words. And what's so important I found out is like, don't try and like elaborate on the words. Like that's usually how they speak, except unless you're freaking Melissa and you're a pro and you get like beautiful novels of sentences. I'm like, so like she just, it's so beautiful what you say, Melissa, and I freaking love it. But when you're a newbie, a lot of the times it's just a couple words. And I think it's really important to not try and logically figure them out. Just let them come, let them come. But it ended up being really cool because I found out she had an uncle that had passed away, or her mom had a brother that passed away when he was only 2, and they had a really important message for my sister's family, and that they were all protected, and they were all being kept safe, and that these ancestors wanted them to know. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so special! Like I just got a call from my ancestor or my relatives in Mexico, and they're having a really hard time right now, and they've been praying so hard, and they've asked me to go to temple, make sure that everything's good there." And she's like, this is such a needed message that they're gonna love hearing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so special that I got to deliver that, and it was really special. And I also feel like when you act upon those, you get trusted with more. Like so there's some things to that. And then after that happened and a couple little things happened, I went to church one Sunday, and then a little non-speaker boy or beyond verbal boy came and sat next to me. I didn't know he was beyond verbal. I was just like, hi. And he started digging in my Sunday bag. And then I was like, oh, yeah, you can play with any of the toys I have in there. And he found all the 3D, I did tons of 3D prints. He got down all my 3D prints. He's like digging them and playing with them. I'm like, yeah, go for it, dude. It's like, whatever. And then like 10 minutes later, his mom's like running up to me. She's like, I'm so so sorry. Like she's like, I didn't know where he went. She's like, this is Sammy. And I'm like, oh, you're fine. He can totally play with all the toys. And she's like, wait, are you Zan? I was like, yeah. And she's like, I knew Sammy would find you. So he's like, your sister told me about you and how you guys had just started listening to the telepathy tapes and you guys were on board. She's like, I knew he was going to find you. And I was like, oh, he found me. I was like so touched. And like starting that moment, I could feel that physical sensation. I felt like my ear tunnel and I'm like, okay, he wants to connect. So I'm just like sitting there. I'm like ready for any word to pop in. And I started getting impressions of like, he's got some bodyguards. He's calling them bodyguards. And I was like, okay, he wants me to tell you about, he's got like 3 or 4 bodyguards around him that are like his angels right now. And he brings them to church and they kind of are who he translates through. And I'm like, he kept showing me that he was like snipping something between him and his mom. And it kind of turned out that his mom's got some like really heavy, like, for lack of delicate word, like dark magic in her family that her dad had practiced. And he didn't feel safe connecting with her telepathically. And so, and she had been really trying to connect with him. And he was just like, nope, like, sorry, mom, you got too many holes in you. And so I was like, so I feel like he said you can connect with him through his like bodyguards, essentially, his angels that are around him, and you guys can chat. They're just going to be the in-betweeners for you guys. I don't think she wanted to hear that, but eventually she talked to another woman who's very good with non-speakers, the one who just joined the group, Sheridan. And Sheridan was just like said something very similar to her, like essentially like, yeah, we can talk to Sammy this way and this way, like through a little bit um of like a team. And I'm like, and honestly, I don't blame her. Like I would want to talk to my son. That would be like the most important thing to me. And I'm sure all of you moms who have the beyond verbal kids are like, I want to talk to my babies. I want to know what they're saying and all the things, that's just like such a dear and tender thing. So like every moment I could and I would help and talk to her, and Sammy was like my mentor and he like walked me through like how it all worked, and he just like slowly just gave me experience after experience. And his mom was so sweet because she would confirm things to me so quickly. She would be like, get in that frequency. Like it was like she was like watching the frequency of us talking. So she could like see and confirm things that were happening. I'd be like, okay, he's saying something about a pool. She goes, he forgot his shoes at the pool. I knew he'd forgot his shoes at the pool. Like she would say something like that, and I'd be like, okay. So she was so helpful. Like anybody you can find in the community that can just be a sounding board. Cause I feel like when we can vocalize things, it helps us like make connections. We still need to make the outward, bring it into the 3D world for our brains to make that connection, because I think we're all really good probably at floating in that conscious state, but being able to vocalize it and making those outward connections, there's something about that that makes it very helpful for learning. So yeah, so I'm at the state now where I'm decent. I get words and little impressions, like thoughts, ideas. Like when Melissa and I were at this lunch, I started getting very gentle ideas about this baby that this couple was holding. I was like, he's something. Like he's special. And mom was like, oh my gosh, yes. And I was like, he can see or maybe feel and I was like, I don't know. Melissa, go. And so I tag teamed Melissa in, and Melissa was like, he can smell spirits. And the mom was like, I knew it. Like it was so, and then Melissa had like a million beautiful things to say about this like 6-month-old baby that this mom was just like drinking in, and it was so cool. So like that's like what I get. I get like the gist, I get little impressions. And then as Melissa was speaking, that was honestly like probably the best learning experience for me, because I'm like, oh, that's how that needs to come out in words now. I'm like, okay, because I would get similar impressions, but then Melissa was saying it so beautifully and so well. And like it was just what the mom needed to hear. And it was just really cool. So like, anyways, anytime you can go with a master and just like sit and watch. I mean, these Zoom lessons, Melissa, have been astronomical for all of us. Like we owe you $1 billion because these are just like absolutely priceless for everybody. Like, thank you for the time that you give us. It's seriously amazing. But go ahead, Stephen. If anyone has any questions, I can answer.
I'll just tap in really quickly. I still sometimes, when the channel isn't just streaming, that's how I get it, is I'll get certain words and certain information, and you just have to wait until the moment's over before you put it together. And a lot of people will experience that. So I like that you brought that up, is that, I'm just getting words here and words here, it doesn't make sense until it makes sense. And a lot of people will go through that. That's a lot.
That's a perfect way to say it. When the moment's over, you can like look back at it and kind of grab that sentence. That's a really good way to put it. I feel that all the time. Hindsight.
Yeah, yeah, yep. Hindsight's a lot in spirituality because spirit is going to say, here's all the information, and it all comes to you in a puzzle, and you have to put it together the way that it needs to be put together. And it's just what I've been doing for years. So now I know the puzzles as they come through. I'm like, oh, I know exactly where that puzzle piece goes. So you just get a little bit better at it as you go, and you're a little bit more fluent. Go ahead, Stephen.
I guess my experience started it feels like a lifetime ago, but it started like last beginning of September. It's only been a month. Um, I think I assume experiences are going to be a bit different for everyone. For me personally, it's mostly I think I'll keep things like brief and hit the highlights, but it's been bodily sensations that I cannot involuntary bodily sensations that I cannot like make them happen basically. Um, and that's how I know there's something going on there, right? Like I have no control over for example, if it's something happened in my ears, I have no control over it. It happens. Um, and then I would just say the biggest, I guess, I mean, there's lessons every single day, but the biggest one that I take away from is that telepathy is if I can use the word sacred, and it should just be used sparingly. And I think it's important for me because it's different for everyone, but for me, I think it's important to have the verified, confirmed, tested to make sure that whatever message, impression, energy you're receiving is being transferred correctly as originally intended. And I think I do have a lot of confirmations, verifications, but my biggest one, my favorite one right now is with Adriana. I was on the phone with Adriana's mom, and what we did in the exercise we did was that I will have her mom would uh, her mom would think of like random numbers, and I would be able to get like guess those random numbers like exactly what they were. So her mom thought of her mom was thinking of a number, and then I got the sensation 5, and then I told her was that the number she was thinking of. She said yes, and then it was and then we did some more numbers, and then excited, and her mom was saying she was getting chills everywhere. How like accurate that is. Um, so yeah, it's definitely been a roller coaster of feelings and lessons and whatnot, but it's probably just different for everyone.
Yeah, it definitely is different for everyone. Laura T, they are just pointing to you to come in on this conversation. I feel like you have something to, I just see about 5 fingers saying you need to be talking in this conversation too. So everyone is unique, but yeah, I want to see what Laura has to say because I'm just seeing them all around you saying it's your turn to talk, mama.
Oh, that's so funny that they're doing that. Because I was just thinking the biggest thing for me was that, sometimes we want things to happen. For me, I want things to happen so badly that I'll I'll really be trying too hard, and so I would have to make sure that I don't let my mind get in there. And so it's a lot about patience for me and just being in like a void space until until I'm sure that something's going on. So that was for me. It's almost like I do Dr. Joe Dispenza's work too, and he's always talking about getting to this place where you have this really a kundalini type of experience, and it seems like the more you try to get there, the less you get there. So it's more about surrendering to the experience you're actually having instead of like trying to get anywhere. So that was just the thoughts that were coming to my mind when, because I really get a lot of stuff from my own inner voice. And I mean, I am really, really good at that. And when I work with clients, I do get it afterwards too. And what I found is after sessions, I'll send them follow up like downloads that I get from, that come later. But as far as telepathy goes, I haven't had anything coming yet. But it's my big thing is just don't worry about it. Just wait. It's not anything you need to try to do. You just need to allow it to unfold. So.
Yes. Yeah. No, and you're exactly right. Yeah. Anytime that you try and you're not sitting in your, I love, Stephen, the word sacred. If you're not sitting in your sacred place, then they're not coming to give you that information, because telepathy really is a sacred language, and it is something accessible to everyone, but you have to have a great pure heart to truly access that, because it is always for the greater good of the whole. And even if that whole is serving you on how to help and get better and grow and heal, that is still going to be helping the entirety of it. And that place of surrendering, that void, is so important. It's almost as though you have to go into a place of disconnect before you actually connect. Disconnecting from yourself, your emotions, your feelings, anything that was going on with you. And as Zach was talking about too, I think he now left, but as Zach was kind of pointing out, is that you have to be in this space for them to spell even correctly. And it's a little bit like the meditation. When you're going fully into yourself, into the meditation, you're surrendering and letting go of all the outside world, going into yourself. And once you find that pocket of that into yourself, now you have access points, and it's almost like this light broadcasts out, and anyone that can see your light can come on in and have that conversation with you. And it's usually that they're sitting in their place too, and then the lights just connect, and in that place of connection, you both are brought out of your body and into that place of unity, where it's full, experience of communication, and the body will feel it, the mind will feel it, the spirit will feel it, and the words will be able to express it. So, yeah, thank you, Laura, for bringing up that point. Go ahead, Chrissy.
I just had a question with regard to that. I don't know why I'm like drawing a blank on. I don't know. My words are having a hard time. Having a hard time getting my words out today. So, anyways, with regard to that, if you're just seeing like sort of pictures of things, how do you know? Like, how do you put the meaning together if it's just random, like things that are coming through that you feel like aren't your own thoughts and feelings or whatever, channeling from something else, and you're not sure what to make of it. Like for example, like, so my friend is trying to get me to channel for him. He's like kind of giving me a boost with the Kundalini, and things are coming through to me, but I'm not sure if it's actually telepathy that's happening when I'm doing that with him, or if it's just random things that are popping into my head and I'm just saying out loud what I'm seeing, and he's sort of going, okay, and thinking that I'm channeling for him, but I'm not really. So if you can give me any clarity with that, that would be great.
So channeling and going into the intuition at first is a lot of reflections from other people. Is this accurate? Is this right? And the more affirmations you get from other people, the more affirmation you get from the synchronicity and the placement of things within Earth, the more reflection and confidence that you're going to have. So one of the bigger things is, within that telepathic or intuitive place, is to just say it before you're thinking about it. Just let it out, put it out there, because the more thought that you put, the more doubt you're going to have, the more you're going to hold yourself back, and the less that you're going to want to say. So getting that information out right away and seeing if your friend is that resonating. If it is in resignation with a friend, then you know that you're on that right track, you know that you're on that telepathic channel. If they're saying no, then you know that somehow you're reaching a place of ego, or you're reaching a place of eagerness, and you're pulling out that information. When we're seeing images such as a picture, sometimes that's all that they can get through. So if they show you a picture, usually it is because they're not able to speak, they're not able to tell you or send any other visuals. So sometimes they'll pull up pictures, they'll pull up memories, they'll pull up things that just remind me of something. So if you ever have seen any kind of crystal reading, card reading, any kind of deck reading or future reading where they're putting the thing, the cards or the crystals or items out, what they're essentially doing is tapping into that energy and what that energy is saying to them. And what are the colors that are being brought out? What are the emotions that are being brought out? What images trigger a specific memory or a time within their life? So if you're seeing an image, go into what does that mean for you? Because sometimes they're not able to get that whole thing out, and so they'll just say, well, Melissa, here you go. Can you explain that to them? And to me, it just might be, well, what does that mean? There's just letters and numbers and a triangle. But when I sit back and I ask my intuition what that means, I can see that there's mathematical components to what they are trying to say. And so I would maybe look at this and say, well, there's a problem that they're trying to get me to solve. And the issue is within the distance, or the issue is something that is within that holy trinity. I don't know, but whatever is coming up in my head in that time when they are producing that picture, those are the things that they're trying to get through. And it might not be anything specific to the picture. It just might be that they are showing you that image because they want you to see different parts of it to bring that information of what that means to you forward, because what they're doing is they're going through you at times to express. And so they're bringing images and things that would be meaningful to you so that you can connect to it and then bring it to the forefront and express what that is. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
That makes sense. So I'm sort of like backtracking to like, am I actually channeling when I'm doing this with my friend? And if I am, like, if stuff's not making sense to me or him, why is it coming up? Or do we just need to ask more questions? So first, like, am I actually doing anything when I'm working with him? And second, like, how do we piece those things together if it's not making sense to either of us, the images that are popping up? Sometimes it makes sense, but sometimes random images pop up and I'm like, I have no clue what this is, and he doesn't know either.
I do see that you are doing some channeling. If there is information that is being brought up or images, I would say bring them again to the forefront, talk about them. They might not be anything that's meaningful now, but they might mean something in a month from now that is that affirmation or that aha moment or that activation point where that will make sense. So say it anyways. Sometimes things don't make sense. I was doing a healing once and I could not get this bear out of the oven image out of my head, to the point I had to stop the healing. I had to bring it up to the woman and say, I don't know what this bear in the oven is. And she goes, I have no clue. I said, well, I just have to tell you, there's this bear in the oven. And it was a teddy bear that was in the oven, and didn't make sense to either of us. A few months down the road, might have even been a month down the road, she had her daughter, and her daughter was almost in hysteria because she lost her teddy bear and didn't know where the teddy bear was. And then it triggered her to think, maybe I should check the oven. And she did. And sure enough, the teddy bear was in the oven, and it made sense then. So some of the things that that don't make sense, and you've heard me say it too. I don't know what this is, but I'm just telling you, and it might make sense. It might not, but I'm just putting it out there. A lot of times I get a month or a few weeks later that it is making sense. And so it's just affirmation that we didn't catch up to the information. And once the information was caught up, then it was more impactful at that moment, because it was such a almost a glitch. What do you mean a teddy bear? That doesn't even make sense. But when the moment happened and she got the teddy bear out, that was affirmation that spirit had already been there, that it knew where it was, but it was so connected and interconnected to all of the different inner workings of her family up until even that day. And so it actually opened up a whole spiritual awakening for her in that moment, because that moment was an aha moment of, whoa, we were tapping in the future. And sometimes it's just for future and it doesn't make sense for now. So say it anyway. Yeah. Or even
Thank
say,
you.
what does that mean to you? You know, I'm seeing this image of this and this and this. You know, sometimes when we say I'm seeing this image, people want to look at the image, but maybe say, as I'm saying the image, check into the energy and what does that feel like for you? And maybe it's going to be something else too. So you can talk about, step into the feeling of the picture that I'm showing you too. And that might trigger something emotionally or physically that you would be able to explain.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Sam, go ahead.
You're on mute.
All right, let's do this. I one thing to add was that I totally uh like second what Melissa said. If you can have a Google Doc that has just like everything that you ever get from Spirit, like you will not be sorry, because you can do Control F and hit find on any words. And that has been probably the best thing that I've ever done, is that when I have my sister come over and we sit and we type in my Google Doc just any of the words or the images or anything that I get. And what's so cool is that like it could be 6 months later and I'll be like, tuna fish and bare feet. I'm like, I got tuna fish and bare feet, I swear, forever ago. And I'll go type in like tuna fish and bare feet in my channel Google Doc, and it'll take me back to like a paragraph I wrote about some things I got, but it will perfectly fit into that day. And it was almost like they gave me a code word to go back to. They'll like give me insights for like a couple months from now. And then when the day comes, they'll give me like a couple keywords, and then that will take me back um to that sentence or that paragraph, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, that perfectly answers that one thing we were wondering about, or like it's really cool insight. So like I don't think you'll be sorry if you just start a Google Doc and every spiritual insight you get, just write it down. If it sounds crazy, if it's an image, because and even with images, like I remember I was getting the image of like something gold, and I'm like, and in my head it looked like literal doily lace around it, but I said it's got some scallops around it. And then my mom's eyes like lit up. She's like, "Oh my gosh, the necklace that like they left me a necklace like that my grandpa left her." And she pulls up a picture of it, and it what I was saying actually perfectly fit what she pulled up, but it didn't match what the image was in my head. So it's almost like I got the image, so I would say certain words, and then the words matched up for the person that needed to hear them. So that, I mean, I'm sure sometimes it's going to be literal and sometimes I just need to say some of the words, and that was what linked up. So I like it's like trial and error, we're all silly little humans, so we just got to keep trying and practicing. But Melissa, I had a question for you. Have you ever tried to connect with someone who's not beyond verbal, like one of us silly lay people? And has that been successful? Have you tried to like send words or like do anything with somebody who is like speaking?
Oh, absolutely. We've even done it on the show a few times where we have,
Oh,
uh, yeah. Telepathy is a language across the board. So with it, I mean, you can talk to anything, and I really strongly believe that this is really needed, especially if we are going to be calling in and asking for all of these extraterrestrials and aliens that we're connecting to. We need, I mean, we're going to need somebody telepathic that is going to be waiting when that ship comes down so that they get the right words out. But yes, telepathy is with nature. I just aligned with another filmmaker, and we are going to be specifically channeling Earth and what we need to do for Earth, and that's all we're going to be doing, and not have the other telepathics come on, but it's just that conversation with um nature, and that's what we're gonna do with the sun. I mean, with animals, I'm not the best with animals, I'm not the best with insects. Sometimes I can hear them, but it is just words here and there are enough for me to know things need to happen. I had this moth that one day, was very upset and just kept asking me to shut the generators off of the festival and stuff. And so it just that kept saying, I can't do it with the light and the sound and the light and the sound and the light and the sound. But that was all I was getting, is the light and the sound. And I'm going, what is happening? And I could feel the dizziness, and until I pulled the plug, and the little Luna moth came on my leg and landed and said, thank you. And then it left after that. Well, it was quite a big one. I shouldn't say it was little. But realistically, telepathy is with anything and everything, and psychics and mediums, channelers, transmitters, all of them are doing some sort of telepathy. And even when you're thinking about prayer is telepathy, because you're not actually, speaking to God. It is a form of telepathy, and people just need to realize that a lot of the connections outside of ourselves, it is a form of telepathy in some which way, shape, or form. And the more that you give gratitude to that relationship, the more you sink into it, and the more you reach it and say, I'm here, I acknowledge, I'm aware, and I'm present, ready to experience, the more you're going to experience that.
I was going to quickly add, I also have some experience with like regular human to human telepathy. I have a friend who's pretty good at it, like, and I was absolutely shocked when I found out I could do it with him. But like, what we could do is like send numbers to each other through a vision. Like, he could send me the number seven. Like, he would send me number seven, right? He wouldn't tell me that. He would send, Steven, I'm sending you a number right now. I'm doing this over the phone. And I close my eyes and I like get like a vague image of like that number seven. I was like, is it seven? And he's like, yep, that's right. I was like, what? Like, I did not believe that, and I still don't know how to fathom that. And there's also like I don't I think there's a bunch of things out there, and we're not even scratching the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, that is so true. That yeah, some of us haven't even reached the water surface yet. They are still at that tip, and we're still getting to that water surface and trying to go below. I can say, Holly here, she has this very telepathic spirit that is just like, oh, pick me, and what does it have to say? And I just love her energy, because her energy is very much poised, especially now in this meeting. But if you guys could see or hear spirit on the outside, what are we going to talk about? What do we want to say? What kind of questions do I have to ask? And do I even fit in here? Am I supposed to be in here? I feel like I fit in here, but I don't know why I fit in here, but I'm supposed to be here anyways. And this is all really exciting. Sometimes a little bit boring, but I know that I'm meant to say something, to be something, and to feel more and part of this community, but I'm not exactly sure where I fit in. So I'm just going to sit to the back, and I'm not going to say anything and wait until somebody actually does some channeling or speaking to or for me. And I'm just seeing her glow and get really excited as she says it, because she's been holding her psychic abilities in a little bit more, or sacred, or I'm not going to show them so much. So she hasn't been shining them out. So when you look at her versus her spirit, sorry, Holly, and if you want, I can channel even more of that spirit, but I can just see the difference in the two of them. And so there's some disconnect sometimes, because when she gets really excited with her spirit, and her spirit are connecting, it's almost like her body can't handle that amount of information and that amount of overload. And then it's like, I got to do something. What do I do? And I just feel this, all of the excitement. And then it almost gets so excited, it just parts with her body for a little bit there. And then she's like, I felt it. It was there. It was awesome. And let's go. And then I lost it. So uh, it's just we need to get her body as excited as her spirit is. And sometimes that's all it is too, is that our spirit is just amped up and ready to go and ready to have all that information. And then you have the human side saying, well, I don't know that much. I didn't research that much. I don't have that much experience. And so the mind is really pulling back. And until Holly gets really excited, and the flow is going and the energy is going, and she sees it all, then that's, and only then is when the spirit and the body are coming together. But it just seems so little, because she's not used to that excitement in her everyday life. So that spirit is real jolt, and it's just, okay, I can hold this, I can hold this, okay, I'm out. So sometimes it's even getting in touch with your own spirit and yourself and saying, spirit, kind of, can you calm down and give me some of that energy in this lifetime? And then it helps amplify that body a little bit, and that body can utilize that energy. And now instead of potential energy in both of them, we have that place where they feel safe in each other, have that kinetic flow, and now we have this alternating current where they can continuously be together, rather than, her saying, I need to hold it together and be poised and act normal here, and then her spirit being like, girl, but we got so many things that nobody has talked about, nobody has even witnessed, and this is all woo woo stuff, and she doesn't know where it goes. So it becomes a conflict. So getting to know our spirit is really important, and then being comfortable with our spirit so that we're in that constant flow is also very helping to just hold that energy for us too, because we need the mind, body, spirit have to almost come together and work as one, so that it's comfortable and we're always in that flow, rather than in the flow and then disconnect, and in the flow and disconnect, which is a lot of what people do because they're not aware of how to stay in that presence. And in that presence is just awareness within the presence. What are you feeling? What are you going through? What are your emotions? And going, trying to tackle any problems. And if problems keep coming up and they keep coming up and they keep coming up, then at some point just saying, okay, I have to be truthful and I have to put it out there, whether that's with yourself or the community around you or with your creator. And then, then you deal with it, and then you're moving on again and say, okay, well, I took it. It was in the present. It kept coming up. I dealt with it. And then we're moving on. And then if things are coming again, because it can come good or bad, you're getting all these pictures, you're getting all this information, and you're not sure what to do with it. And then suddenly, you have to take that back and say, okay, we got to be in the present. What is the information? Why does this keep coming up? And then learning that lesson, and then you get to move on with it. So good or bad as that energy, if it keeps coming up and it keeps coming up, then that means that you're not present. You're not being present with it. You're not really facing it. You're not looking at it. And so getting in that moment of saying, okay, I am here, I'm truthful, I'm looking at it in whatever capacity that means, I'm going to deal with it, and then we're going to move on. That is going to keep you in that flow, rather than keep getting stuck, even if it's, okay, I get too excited, I get so excited. Because if you have that excitement, then you tend to lose that, because that energy is so high flowing that when you come down and you calm down, you're not able to maintain or keep that information. It goes back to those dreams of, well, I got excited, my dog's head turned into a Dorito and went in, and then I got excited and I woke up. And that's what's going to happen, is that anytime you get into excitement or you get too relaxed and the other parts of you are not there, it's going to flip you all of the ways. It's going to flip you out and into a sudden disconnect, and you're going to have to bring that back to a reconnect later. So yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So would you say, like, I think it's my experience so far, I feel like to do the telepathic channeling, whatever, it's important to be in a neutral state, like a calm, um like you said, we were talking about excitement. I think excitement actually can work against you, because if you stay too excited for too long, I feel like you start just getting more and more extreme. So, and you use up a lot of energy, whatever that is. I don't just learning everything. So yeah, I think that's super important. Like you do this, you try to stay as neutral, commentative, and positive, obviously, as much as possible, and then you take a little break and come back to it again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And the neutral state is what's going to get you there, because once you are in that neutral state, it will either bring you to that high or low state of where you need to be within telepathy. But neutral is always the place of entrance. Because when you are going into that, then all of the excited energy, all the chaotic energy, but also the restful energy, then are able to meet up, because you have that happy mediumship there. Now, when you get into that place of telepathy, there's a lot of variations, and through the EEGs and stuff that I've done, and really need to get into the habit of getting this on my head. Sometimes it takes about 40 minutes to get on my head and get all the right placement and whatnot. But I am really wanting to get it more onto these videos, but you'll see the different communication styles that come through. Sometimes the brain waves are very, very extremely rapid. And a lot of times that's when they're talking through me and I'm channeling and that energy is just going. But there's other times when they're talking about their self, they're talking about their, especially Mason, and I'm bringing it back to him because when he goes into telepathy sometimes, or Caleb's one of them too, they almost bring a calming to me. And so I'm not as fast speaking with them because when they come in, I'm just going, okay, good. I'm with Mason and he's just this calm dude. And he brings me into that body a lot where Owen or Elsa, they get me really hyped up and I'm just talking like this, but that's where their energy is. So everybody is just like a regular person. I mean, we meet people that are very high strung, high energy, and then we meet people that are calm. Telepathy is the same way, is that we're going to meet the person where they're at and they're going to meet us where we're at.
So you're saying that you feel like different whatever spellers or whoever you channel, you can feel their energy signature. It's like I guess their pace of talking or even their attitude or humor, things like that. Like you can kind of feel it. I mean, I obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly that. Each person feels different. It would just be like being in the room with different friends or different people. Some friends come in the room and that you guys are just going to be high strung talking about everything. And then there's also the friend that comes over and just wants to chill and watch TV, and they don't want to talk about anything. They just want you in the presence. And everybody's like that. So as the different people and their personalities come in, you're going to feel different parts of your body, and they'll either hype you up or bring you down. It also depends on their state that they're at. When I have people that are doing healing on me, I get really calm, but then I also have states where they're under body attacks and I just hear screaming in my ears until I get on the phone and help, them work through whatever it is that they're needing to be worked through. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have those experience where I feel like the energy is like it's really off. Like it's like overwhelming in the negative sense sometimes, and that's really scary.
Yep, and a lot of times that's when they're in distress. With telepathy, I actually have a lot more distress calls than I do happy calls, and so I feel the pressure in my body. Um, I'll feel maybe gassy, or I'll feel pressure. I'm happy and everything around me is going great, but maybe I'm extremely sad all of a sudden. And so these are all things when I'm feeling a sudden change within my body. I just step back and say, okay, who is this? What is this? And I usually close my eyes. Uh, or sometimes even, if I'm really advanced and been working with a person, there's signatures that actually happen within my own body where my husband even knows who's coming through now, because he'll see my eyes change a certain way, or he'll see my head go different, or I'll start speaking differently and my husband will just say, okay, well, who's in here? Or, if there's even a new channeler, he understands that too. Because he goes, okay, who are you working with now? I've never seen this come through. So you'll see different changes within yourself as the people are coming through, and you'll notice different stems that might come through your body, different looks. Owen has this when he comes through, he kind of tilts his head and does this up look sometimes, so I'll know that it's him. And you just get used to, as you're channeling the people or as you're telepathically talking, where are you feeling that in your body? How are you feeling that? And the more in tune you are with that, then when they come and you're going, okay, well, my left pinky's here, so this Aiden, this is his antenna, he must be talking to me right now. And then that's how I know, because you'll feel little antennas in your body that will pop up too, as far as where each individual is going to be at too.
So it's all really new and exciting, and I think some of the you can have some really great experiences with, and I think we're like having some really like divine thoughts, or if you will, like this type of experiences I just remember forever. It's pretty because it's supernatural to say the least.
I'm gonna go the opposite, say, and yes, it is supernatural, but it is still natural. You know, everyone thinks that supernatural you can't get, but supernatural just means amped up natural abilities. So, you know,
It's
when we hear
scary. It
this,
scares me. It's too extreme.
right? Right? But that's all it is the super abilities are just amped up people that are aware of what they can do and the human ability. And hopefully we're going to get to that point, especially within our community and within all of the work that all of our community members are doing, is that we're going to be able to bring back that remembrance of who we are as a whole, as part of that earth, of part of that water, of part of that remembrance of what creator is, and our divine unique mission as to why we each came and made this beautiful blueprint of ourselves, and what that looks like being carried out as the architect in our own life, and being able to create that reality for us that was envisioned for us when we were born, but also envisioned for the world to accept us in a certain way. And the more that we are in connection with the whole, and the more remembrance and awareness, I feel like there's going to be this lifting of energy that's really going to come forth, that is available to us, that we have not tapped into in so long, because we have just said it's all woo woo, it's fake, it's not there. And so we pushed it all under the rug. And that when enough people open that up, just wait, because it's almost going to be an overnight activation with so many people that they're just going to wake up and say, well, I know.
I'm trying to process this like in like originally it was kind of just overwhelming every single day, and then now I'm trying to take it like little baby steps in terms of accepting what's like confirmed real and what's kind of like maybe not fully thought out yet experience. Um, I still, just personal opinion though, it I mean this Zoom call just absolutely helps because it, like, you can't do this alone. You need to talk to other humans to feel like you're not, going crazy, if you will. Um, but I just personally feel like maybe my approach to this is taking the in baby steps, and getting those confirmations are just super important to me, because I want to be able to make that connection between the consensus reality that all of us agree to, and the other thing, and make that connection like the telepathy tests, right? To make sure it's absolutely solid, real, like agrees with these double blind, whatever experiments you want to call them, and to make them scientifically acceptable, well, currently acceptable, and then we, I guess, go from there. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, and that's going to be a huge thing, is bringing the proof, because a lot of people have lacked that proof, have lacked that information. So the more that we can bring that to the forefront, and the more that it becomes readily available. Telepathy is just like Wi-Fi. So, you know, we have all these internet places and all these satellite dishes and stuff that's out. And so Wi-Fi information is helpable, and you can actually pull it right out of the air, because there's so much of that Wi-Fi and energy that is coming out. Well, that is technology, right? And that is an expression of creator making a creation, and it's the same as our creator and how our creator made us. And one of the things that we are going to be able to do here shortly is to drop the technology, these computers, and tap into the open intelligence that we have within ourselves. Once we do that, and enough people then start to show the proof and start to do the talk and walk the walk, and it's genuine and it's pure, that elevation and that information and that those telepathic communications are just going to be like Wi-Fi signals going all over the place. And I don't know, a lot of people have talked about like that entangled app, but that's really what's happening is the more aware we come, the more our quantum elements are accessible and able to teleport and entangle with so many different things. And as it goes out and entangles, all of those connections are being made. And so now all of these different particles are out and we start connecting to those. And now telepathy will end up taking over some of those extra Wi-Fi waves, and then people will just be walking through this. And while two people are having a telepathic communication, somebody's going to walk through that line, and they're going to pick up that information and be able to go through telepathy. So I see all of these different. Basically, thank you, Owen. Basically, Owen is coming out and he says, "Yeah, we're just doing telepathic ley lines, and once we empower those ley lines, then everybody will be able to receive that energy and achieve their born right."
Do you have do you sometimes think about like from perspective like being cautious with like unlocking like a new type? I'm thinking like analogies, but obviously this is beyond human understanding. That, for example, if you think of like nuclear physics, there's positive and negative applications, right? So I wonder if there should be. That's why ethics is crucial.
For sure. When it comes to telepathy, it has its own built-in ethics. There's nothing that you can really do. It is all divinely ran. But when it does come into dealing with energy manipulation on any point, whether you're doing healings or you're just, giving blessings to the world, we have been able to see and even prove within our lab and our research center that we have that most definitely, even the most well-intended healers, if they actually aren't tapping into source, or they're not tapping into themselves, or they're not tapping into purity, when they go to heal people, we'll actually see worse bacteria. We'll see more of their DNA lines and their epigenetics that are activated rather than deactivated. So I know personally, and I used to teach energy classes, and when I would teach the energy classes, I could actually feel that different people were utilizing some of that information for selfish gain. I saw people utilizing it, and I felt it actually where they were just doing it for money, and it changed. And I actually had to pull back some of those attunements, and I never thought that that was ever a thing. But there are ways that you can change and manipulate energy that goes against things. But when it comes to telepathy itself, and I'm in a pure connection of telepathy, the ethics are built in, the information is built in, and it's a complete safeguard. And anybody that has ever tapped into telepathy will say it is one of the most loving, most unifying communication resources out there, because anybody who taps into telepathy sees the bigger picture of, we need to lose the words and we need to be in tune with empathy and the energy so that we can achieve full stasis and full energy, full abilities and access to the things that we were born with, and the things that we are able to achieve. So yes, there can be manipulation, but when if you're tapping into true telepathy, I have never seen a way that it would ever hurt anyone. If anything, it would be an ultimate healer for everyone, because they would see the bigger picture. They would understand the bigger picture, because when you're tapping in to telepathy, you're seeing the greatest consciousness. You're seeing the web, you're seeing how everything works. And it's just accessing and focusing that information so that you can bring it back into this world. But when you go in, it's almost like, whoa, I see the whole thing. And that's why I love questions when it comes to telepathy, because when you go into the whole, it's just like, well, all the information is there and it's accessible. So I need access lines and I need focus lines for you to say, go here, and then bring the information back. Whereas when I'm doing channeled readings, I say, don't ask me any questions. Don't tell me anything about yourself. Don't anything, because I'm opening it up specifically for you. And I'm working on your energy. And so therefore I only want to go into your consciousness. And that can be a little bit different than the whole. But when you're going in the whole, though, you can only access telepathy if you are of pureness. You cannot access it in any other way. Now, there are people out there that are faking telepathy, that are stating that they can do this and they don't have it. And the difference that you're going to feel is the discernment within yourself. Is what they are saying for the greater of good? Are they trying to bring humanity together? Are they trying to build the bridges? Are they trying to have integration rather than separation? Those that are utilizing it the wrong way, or those that are saying we should have separation, we should have segregation, we should, this person is completely bad, or this person you shouldn't go to, or or that person is doing self-gain, then they're not doing telepathy, they're utilizing people for their own self-gain. Telepathy wouldn't allow that. It says we're all one and we all need to be one. And once we achieve that oneness, everyone will be accessible the same time, the same place, and have the same kind of resources to help each other and to take away any pain or sadness or anything within the world, because telepathy is the highest achievement of humanity. And to get that back as a whole would just be such a sacred thing, because we haven't been able to achieve it since Babel. And Babel was all these telepathic people that came and they saw the whole, but then they would step out of the whole and into humanity and start with kingdomships, and they would start with their new government systems and saying war and stuff like that, and they used sickness and they used famish and they used all this other stuff that disconnected the spirit, and they said I am right, and people depended on those people rather than depended on the whole. And so they lost that information, and now we're stuck in mistranslation, Babel, right? And we need to achieve the homeostasis again. And once we achieve that homeostasis, Babel will not be a thing. Words won't be needed, and we'll all be brought to that sacred place. But now we'll have a knowing that we probably shouldn't step over Creator the way that we did before.
There's a lot of personal choice, like free will, and even with telepathy, you still have free will.
Truth. Yeah. Yep. 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 And I mean, again, and anyone can tap in, anyone can do it. And it is really just that choice of I'm doing it and I'm surrendering, and it's as easy as tapping in that way. Terry, I feel like you had something to say before Stephen talked or spoke. I know we were talking the ley lines with Owen.
Oh, I was a little bit thinking about the ley lines thing. Well, first of all, he definitely connects with points in the earth, and now I'm thinking I always thought it was because he was feeling like water under the ground, but do you think it could be I don't know, somehow mapping this telepathic connections?
Yep. And that's what he said that they were doing is just like we have HARP, or we have different database systems for the computers, that they are that open intelligence, and they have been placing energy around. So when enough people telepathically connect, it's going to amp that whole grid line up and amp up anybody along those telepathic ley lines, and bring them to that heightened enlightenment. Yeah.
That's cool. It's just sometimes when you want to take a walk, it takes a long time.
He's like, well, when you want to activate telepathy in a whole world that stopped, that it takes a long time too, Mom.
It's all good.
You will all learn together, right? I love it. I love it.
I could ask like a really like random weird question.
Go for it.
So Owen has been exposed to a lot of people that believe in theories like David Icke with the reptilians and shapeshifters and archons and what else? Greys, all this kind of fun stuff. I was wondering, like, sometimes I wonder how much these things influence these, these are like, there's some truth, but there's a lot of just, modern day conspiracy stuff. Like, he can discern and he knows his thoughts on that versus what he's learning through these people that we're hanging out with.
He very specifically said the only thing I learned from humanity is how to be dumb.
No, Owen, I don't know.
Oh, humor.
It could have been a joke. Okay, yeah, because I've gotten some of his jokes sometimes.
Like, oh, humanity is dumb. But he's like, I know it. I get past it. And he goes, all I'm learning from them is how, and it comes out more like how silly they are, and it's not so much being dumb, but he's just like, you can't dumb down anymore. I can't dumb myself down anymore. I know it. I see it before it was even a thought. So don't take it like he was like, humanity's dumb, but it was just
no, we've heard his whole deal on how he grows a lot through being here and he loves being here. So I know that part.
Here. He does.
And he loves his people and he loves I know that.
No, it was more kind of him just joking. He goes, well, I know it all. The only thing that I'm learning here is all the stupid things, So that's why he's having a hard time. Now, mind you guys, Owen has a really good humor, so it's not in the way that like he's calling anyone dumb or he's saying humanity is dumb. He's just saying that we have a lot of silly theories and to hear them said out loud just and that's probably why, because I always see him going just from the side eye, what? And lifting that head up like, huh? And he's kind of doing more of that of, no, I already know the truth, but I'm learning their untruth. And don't worry. I'm not learning anything that I don't know. I'm just learning how silly, and I just want to say dumb, but I know that that's not the way that he's saying it, but it is in like dumb people can think sometimes. But
don't put that in the documentary, because that's like it's all everyone's gonna just like going now.
I can't even think of the words because it's more an example of this. So he's giving me a great example. Thank you, for saving my butt too. is that people that are running into, they see something outside and they want to run outside and they hit the window wall and they come down. So it's kind of like, that's what he's calling kind of dumb, is they don't see what's in front of them sometimes and they just run blindly. And that was just kind of a silly thought. So that would be about as dumb as he's saying. So somebody's running in there isn't dumb. It's more silly. It's just like, why, what, how did you do that? And how did your brain even think that was okay? And it didn't even decipher that this was something that was what? So that's
well, for human defense, I can understand, because this planet is really hard to figure out. Like it is, like you don't know where to turn. Everything is contradictory to everything else, and it is quite confusing. Yeah. And people just want to have some kind of an answer,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So none of those things have. I don't know, because I've been, like I said, I've been around a lot of
him.
people that'll be like I was with someone and literally they were like, did you see the slits in that person's eyes? They're definitely reptilian, and like I was just thinking like, okay, and I was like, Owen's been like influenced by these things, like does he? Yeah, that's funny.
He just kind of laughs. He just kind of laughs at him and he's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
The glass was there. No. He sees it and he feels it, so but he's not picking up. I mean, he's Professor Owen. He knows better.
Professor Owen. So we don't have to be afraid of the reptiles.
Oh, I love it.
Zan left, right? Yeah, she actually. Oh, she's there. She made us a bunch of these cool things.
I'm giving my son a haircut. What was Owen mentioning?
Oh no, I asked about. Like I said, I've been around a lot of like conspiracy theorists. Even though I'm a conspiracy theorist too, I don't know. We're all like trying to figure it out. But yeah, I just feel like he's been influenced a lot in that area, and I was just wondering how much it influences his growth as a human being. You know.
I can totally feel what Melissa feels, where I can feel Owen like rolling his eyes, just roll like proverbially rolling his eyes, rolling his eyes.
Yeah, he gets that. Well, all right, people. I'm gonna end the meeting if that's okay with everyone, or if anyone has anything to say. Just my tummy is starting to hurt a little.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Nothing too deep. Just on the evolution of Let's Be Telepathy and how we talked like I don't know when it was, a month or so ago, about how it was going to be amplifying its purpose to become a wider support hub. Just wondering if there's any update on that, how things are going, if the vision has evolved any further, and what needs there are that need to be filled.
Right now, I need to get a hold of Chrissy and her husband because we need to get the website and stuff going. As we develop, we're going to be offering and it's gonna come out a lot more in December. So right now I've been putting a class together and whatnot. So that class is going to be shown in person when we're in Utah, the 19th through the 25th or 24th there. And then I'm going to come home for a few days and then I have my Egypt trip. When I come back from my Egypt trip, I'm going to upload that class. It will be available. I'm going to do $100 per person for the class, and you'll be able to take it on your own and whenever you want. We are also going to be, there's a group of us that have got together of parents. I know Tara's one of them on there. Cindy, I know you're on a few of the different things too, but we're going to have classes. So we really are seeing the need that there's not a lot of support for classes or what to do out there. So we will have different support things that you can see, educational classes on how to help regulate sexual exploitation of having the actual sex talk with these people because they're not getting the proper education that they need, and we're seeing that's something. We'll also be doing things as maybe safety restraints, how to wrap somebody in a blanket and hold them safely so they're not hurting each other. All of these things are going to be developed. I kind of got myself into a place where it's almost like I was a pimple and somebody came and just popped me and I just went all over. So I really got involved with this Veda project. We linked up with Max Lindenberg. I just as of today linked up with another documentarian. We're going to kind of keep it a little low key because it's going to be a big surprise to come out on this, but I'm doing another documentary with someone. So I have 3 documentaries going on right now, plus my mycelium, plus I'm still getting my sanctuary and fighting, working my body with this cancer stuff and trying to get family. So I know it's a little bit slow. I promise it's coming out, but as I develop things, I don't like putting things out unless I've really thought it through. It has the exact intent and the frequency that it needs to have. More in January, you'll see we'll have the website out. Then we'll have places where you can help donate. You'll be seeing where all that funding's going. We're going to fund people such as Mason and Cody and some of their inventions and stuff that they're wanting to do. We're also linking up with a big company that is wanting to work on artificial intelligence. And so I have about 500 hands in all of the pots all what I feel is so big and so important. So I'm just trying to juggle it all. So just bear with me. But I see the bigger pictures and they all have to be together and it will all come together. It's just finding the time right now for me to individually work on these projects until I actually have the time to not travel anymore and then put it all together because I haven't been home for a full month in a while. I haven't even been home in a week in a while. So it's just catching up. Yeah. Go ahead, Tara.
I wanted to offer if you the logo and some of the artwork that I did for like t-shirts and stuff. If you want me to hook up when they're doing the website so we could like choose colors and make it, I don't know. If they have an art director or something already that I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but I do have some stuff they're interested.
Yeah. No, I love that. Go ahead, Chrissy.
I just wanted to quick say, whenever you have time, we can link up. My husband is still happy to do the website for free and, in any, we can help however we can, so definitely just, message me and we can link up and figure that all out whenever you have free time.
All right. Yeah, we will.
And likewise, I'm really ready, prepared to help out with any kind of behind the scenes stuff, anything that would support on the kind of business operations side of things. Boring stuff that you definitely don't have time for because you're living the life of about 6 Melissas at least. It's crazy
really
everything
am.
you're doing for all of us. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yep. And that'll be nice too because when we get it all there we'll have more places because that's one of the big things that we want to get is we have so many people saying how can we help too, so we want a button that even says how to help where you can link in, and then we also want to put like a little map of where all of the different let's be. Alex Zek had this really awesome act with his way forward that he had showed us, and I thought that was so beautiful because he could see all the different members and then they could link up. And that's what I would really like to do with our community too, is somehow get a little app and a map out there saying this is where we all are. If you're in the area, come meet us. So if anyone knows how to do an app, there we go. There's something that someone can do too as a map app for Let's Be. And it would really help with some respite issues and stuff too.
Yeah, I remember I mentioned that Florida that I know how to custom map active stick.
Okay, so it sounds like Scott maybe might have something. I can't hear you too well, Scott, but
I'm so sorry. Yes, we'll talk later. Yes.
No, you're okay. You're just a little
Yeah, if you remember in Florida, I said I know how to make custom maps with active stick pins. I don't know if you can hear me.
barely, but yeah.
I think he's just saying he can customize maps so that you can have the locations
Okay.
within the map, so he could help with that.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I think that would be great, Scott. So if you can help with that. Again, my plate is just full. So until I start digesting some of this stuff, I don't have any more room for anything right now. But again, it's gonna come to a halt kind of in December. I said December is gonna be my month where I'm kind of taking more of a sabbatical from everything and then putting everything together so that I can find the coordination and the organization skills to move forward with everything in a way that's going to work like a nice river and flow. But
yay.
Awesome.
What's we?
When did we go?
We.
I watched Coco last night and the night before, and I actually have video for you, Tara. My grandbaby.
Oh my gosh!
Has never.
Did you watch it last night?
Yeah.
I connected with you. I saw like the chumbalas and I was thinking it was because of Owen. I saw this design and I woke up frantically like I have to just write this down because I saw all of the colors of the chumbalas but like in these little spirals and it looked cartoony.
Yeah. No, I was watching it because Owen kept saying, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. So I turned it on and I have never seen my granddaughter just sit and stare. Like she just stared at it. And then as the movie's going, I'm going, what is it, Owen? What is it, Owen? And Hector, you know, he was just kind of following around in this funny character the whole time, trying to get him to who he thought was his dad and whatnot. And then they end up being related. And Owen looked at me and he goes, do you get it, Chumbala? And he says, we're ancestors. And I said, is that why you wanted me to watch it? And he goes, yeah, the Chumbalas, they're all around you. Keep up their memory. and so he was saying that we were connected in a past life. And that was why he wanted me to see that. But we've had this relationship where I haven't seen that connection. And so that was where he was saying, watch it. And that's why he kept bringing the Chumbalas up. And but right when right when he realized that Hector was his family, Owen looks and he goes, we're family. You get it now. So
that's true.
And there he is, all quiet. Finally, he's like, oh, you got it. Okay, good.
Yeah, because remember, he wouldn't stop saying it.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So okay, everyone, I'm going to end the meeting for tonight. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Hi, Elizabeth. We didn't talk to you a whole lot. I'm sorry about that. But everyone have a great and wonderful evening. And the next Let's Be is posted on our Facebook on Let's Be Telepathy. Join us then. Until then, be you, be real, be authentic, and keep trusting your instincts. Much love.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.